Welcome back everyone, apologies for the delay in getting some new content out. It's been quite busy at work and at home. I've also been waiting on WIZKIDS shipping the core set to me in the UK, and it's actually here. Fingers crossed everyone will get their sets soon as copies arrive at the various territories around the world. Really just want to jump straight in with a playthrough of match play or match mode to try and give some idea of what organised play or instant missions will look like. The first half of the video will be me randomly generating an instant mission in order to play through and then creating a task force to play it. Then the second half will actually be a playthrough of the instant mission. So we've separated out our overture and situation cards, shuffled them up and randomly drawn a first overture card and then a situation card. This one's show the flag and hostile raiders. That's given our basic setup for our missions. We've then gathered together the complications that have the same category markers that are in the corners for the overture and situation, shuffled them up, and we've picked 2 for each side. The Federation get 2 and the Dominion get 2, and then each player gets to choose which one they want, and this will create our influence tracker for the game. Each player obviously only knows their complication. And once the complications have been assembled, we have a roll off. The person with the most successes gets to choose who has priority and which one gets the influence on their side of the tracker. So in this case, the Dominion have the priority in the first round and the Federation have the influence on their side of the tracker. We're going with the standard 50 core points to create a task force, and following the overture that's saying 1 capital ship and a choice of 2 of either the scout or the support vessels. So we're just going with the core set ones here. So it's a Galaxy, a Constellation and a Defiant, and a battle cruiser and 2 attack fighters for the Dominion side. I've went with 36 points of officers here for the Federation and 1 reliable commander for each of the ships. We then take our other cards, give them a random shuffle and pick 2 of these to create a transfer pool which we can spend some of our leftover points on. Here I pull Kieran Reese and Odo. I'm going to select Odo here to replace one of our reliable commanders for 5 points. I think he's a little bit more versatile than the reliable commander. For the last 9 points, I'm taking the Defiant class title, so the Defiant there, and some quantum torpedoes for the Galaxy class ship. Hindsight's a great thing, and as you'll see in this, I don't actually use those upgrades that much during the playthrough here, so I think it might actually feel better to pay more for actually more unique officers, but we'll see how it plays out as the game develops. We actually went with 41 points here of Dominion officers and your 3 regular supervisors that you get with your 3 ships. Doing a random shuffle here and selecting 2 cards from here that we get a choice from the transfer pool. Having a look at them, I didn't think they were worth it, so we've just kept it straight with the straight up supervisors, and then I spent some more of the points that were left over for personal transponders in case there was any shielded objectives or any ships that I want to try and get some of my troops onto. You see the Intrepid Captain becomes the Commodore of my fleet because they've got the highest ranking pips, and then I've assigned them more or less randomly 2 or 3 officers between each of the ships on the Federation side. And the Founder becomes the Commodore of the Dominion side. Here Ali opted to have 4 officers on the Jem'Hadar battle cruiser and only 2 on the attack fighters. Show the flag. Rival fleets have been ordered to undertake exercises perilously close to a shared border, demonstrating strength to local allies. These sectors have recently seen ships go missing, beset by pirates and marauders. Be wary of seemingly innocuous hails for aid, which turn out to be cunning traps. Our founder issues the call to warp action for the Jem'Hadar battle cruiser. So the basic point of the overture here is for the ships to move in. There's 4 objectives lying in the sectors, 2 in each sector, and we have to do a mission action above them, which is against your command value, to basically just show face, show the flag in the areas, and you get a victory point for passing. The Federation follow suit with their intrepid captain calling a warp action and the Galaxy heading into the other sector on the map. As you'll see as the game progresses, it kind of builds slowly, the game, because you've only got 3 officers that you can refresh across your fleets per round, unless you do some other special actions, so it builds quite slowly, but the tension mounts up as we go through. It's a lot of fun, but the pressure definitely builds up. So the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser is in their position to carry out a mission action with the Karema researcher, and they show the flag. Battlecruiser has a command stat of 4 for 4 blue dice. We don't get any black expertise dice because we don't have a discipline skill. We get rerolls of our instrument power. So that's 2 successes, which beats the target value of 2 for this action, plus so we get a victory point, and we get to move the influence tracker for getting the analysis result. In the other sector, the Galaxy class ship is going to do the same with its Vigilant Security Chief. This time we have the discipline skill, so we get to add a black expertise dice. They've got 3 rerolls due to instrument powers, so we try for the rerolls anyway, even though we've succeeded in the task, and we get a cracking result there, but we lose our analysis results, so we'll not be able to influence the influence tracker. Hindsight says we should have kept one of the analysis to move the influence, but we do get 2 victory points for having a breakthrough success and our normal successes. Having successfully scored 1 objective in the sector, Eris activates calling an impulse maneuver and moving towards the next objective. Interesting to note here is, in our first warp move we powered right into the centre to go for the furthest away objective. In this impulse move here we are now doing a reverse manoeuvre, so we can use half our movement value and turn rate in order to move backwards at an angle towards the final objective. The Galaxy's reliable commander calls impulse as well, and the Galaxy moves towards the second objective in their sector. Having both activated 3 officers, both sides are now going to pass, and we're going to move into the standby phase. So each ship or unit on each side will now get to carry out an action. But this will not be led by an officer, so no expertise dice this time. Plus, it starts off with the non-priority player, so in this case it's the Federation's turn to go first. So the Galaxy has 4 dice for command, and we get 3 instrument power reroll. We're only going to use 2 of the rerolls here. So we needed 2 successes. We've got that, so we've got a victory point plus a breakthrough success for an extra victory point and an analysis result to push the influence to our side again. It's the Dominion's turn again. 4 dice, 2 rerolls this time we get on it, and we get 2 successes that we need and a breakthrough success. So that's 2 victory points, then your analysis to push the influence back to the Dominion side again. The other remaining ships at the edge of space all move up an alert level to green alert 2. Both the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser and the Galaxy class ship are within range of hazards, so we then reveal them in order of priority and then resolve them according to our situation card. This one's number 2, and for the Galaxy it's number 1, which are both escape pod survivors, which actually give an extra victory point to each side. We now move into the ready phase, where we can move officers around and regenerate energy on the ships. We can also carry out any ready actions such as forming teams. You'll see in this clip here that the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser will be able to ready a team here because they know that it's their complication that's coming up. So they actually form a team because they have a sneaky suspicion they're going to need them because it's their complication that's going to be revealed. Federation are currently ahead by 1 victory point. So it's the Dominion complication that's won through. This is tactical extraction, where undercover assets have been detected across the Dominion sectors and embedded bases. The Federation forces race to extract these assets while the Dominion strives to silence them. Dominion player gets to add 2 extra objectives onto the board. The Dominion player here chooses to put the 2 extra objectives into the same sector they're already in. Phase 2, the Federation have priority, so the USS Defiant calls impulse and moves towards the sector which have the Dominion in it. It's fun to remember that the Dominion knew their complication was coming out, so they're actually also a step ahead in this game with the positioning of the new objectives as well, because they've already formed a team, although they've picked an assault team, which probably isn't the best unit to have picked for these objectives. The extract asset mission action, which is just coming up here, needs 3 successes using away units, command stat plus fieldcraft with no rerolls, so a bit tougher. Our researcher is transporting down the Jem'Hadar assault team with Eris as the officer down to the objective. Our intrepid captain on the Galaxy calls alert to shift the Galaxy up to yellow alert 1. So the Jem'Hadar assault team have a command of 2 and Eris has a fieldcraft of 2, so it's 2 blue dice plus 2 expertise dice. Rolling them off, we get 3 successes, which is what we need to actually get the victory point for this action. Odo, in command of the Constellation, which is a support vessel, calls a warp to try and bring the Constellation into the Federation controlled sector. Interesting to note here is the maximum normal move capacity of 6, which the Constellation's got, and we need 9 inches to move into the new sector, so it's going to cost 3 extra energy to move into the sector to go above our movement rate. Odo's pushing those engines hard. Jem'Hadar have seen that the Defiant is coming across towards them, so we'll shift the alert status up to yellow alert. The Jem'Hadar beams its away team and Eris down to the planet's surface to try and extract the asset. The Constellation calls Impulse to move in towards the next objective. And the first Jem'Hadar attack fighter moves in to support the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. The Defiant moves up to yellow alert, sensing that there could be trouble when it moves into this Dominion-held sector. And the second attack fighter now warps in to the Dominion-held sector. The Constellation is within range of a mined wreckage field. Pirates in the area have mined this, and unfortunately it's putting a bit of peril onto the Constellation, even though it succeeds in its tasks to reduce the peril. So the Constellation should have got 2 peril, but because we've managed to get 2 successes, we get to reduce that to 1 peril. Into the ready phase, and we relocate some of our officers, including putting someone into engineering for more power and for transporting people, and we create a away team. This one's a survey away team for the Galaxy class. Constellation also creates an away team, another survey away team, in order to try and score some of these objectives. My big takeaway is always to make sure you've got officers aboard the ships that you're trying to do actions with that can really add to it. Like, make sure in this mission you have officers that have got fieldcraft so they can add expertise dice to your away teams. Round 3, and the away team and Eris do another mission action to extract the asset, and you'll see here they get another success on the test, so again they get another victory point. Both sides are now equal on victory points again. The reliable commander transports the survey away team down to try and extract the next asset. Interestingly, on this action we actually transported from the planet that we'd just secured to the next objective. We took this reading from the rules for transporting personnel. When a personnel is transported within a specified range, this means that their starting position must be within range of the unit transporting them, and their final position must be at a specified range of the unit transporting them. Basically, because the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser is within range of both the start and end destination, it can transport between the two of them. What do you think? And the Federation have popped another away team down to extract another asset. Battlecruiser now pushes further into the sector towards the other 3 objectives that are lying in that sector that haven't been claimed. The Defiant then calls warp and is entering the Dominion held sector. Unfortunately, he's going to be crossing over a hazard, and as you'll see just in a second, the number that comes out is the one for a hostile raider. The hostile raider is placed by the trailing player. In this particular scenario, it's 7 victory points each at the moment, so it's a tie, but the trailing player is classed as the one that doesn't have priority on this round, and it's the Federation that don't have priority in this round, so they got to position it, which was towards the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. In the standby phase, and the Galaxy decides to try and extract an asset using their away team. That's 2 command dice and 1 for fieldcraft, but it fails. The Jem'Hadar decide to take a pot shot at the hostile raider. That's a weapons power of 3, so it's 3 blue dice they get to fire at the hostile raider. Very good result of 5 hits, 4 successes and 1 breakthrough success. It takes out the 2 shields, but all the rest of the damage is spared because it goes down the next colour level. Not liking the Defiant being positioned behind them, the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser uses its second shot and uses reserve power to shoot at the Defiant. Now we've got 2 successes and an accuracy here, so we should have actually only allowed them to take 1 shield off and took 1 hull damage here, but we actually forgot about the accuracy, so it just all went into the shields there, but it's a learning thing for next time. The Defiant shifts up to red alert, try and get some more weapons power and shields. Seeing all the escalating tensions, the Jem'Hadar attack fighters and the Constellation all move up to yellow alert. The Federation survey team try and extract an asset and fail. The Dice founders are also not with the Jem'Hadar assault team, and they also fail the mission action. It was at this point that me and my opponent both looked at each other and said we really need officers with away teams in order to boost their actions. Constellation still within range of the mined wreckage field, so again has to do another test to see whether more peril gets applied and whether we can reduce it. No such luck, 2 extra peril applied to the constellation. The hostile raider gets to do 2 actions, so it's 2 separate shots it gets to do against the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser, which is its nearest target, and it gets 2 hits both times, so Jem'Hadar battlecruiser loses 4 shields. And it's at this point one of our cameras failed, the one that we used to track flipping over cards and the boards. So what I've got here is stills that I've managed to recover of the ready phase as we've completed the ready phase, so where things have moved to and how the energy levels have moved up. And we'll keep this going forward for the next little few rounds. Unfortunately, equipment failure does happen. Sorry about that, folks. The Defiant assembles an engineering team, sensing we might need them in the next couple of rounds. The Galaxy completes a climb-about manoeuvre in preparation for going to warp to support the Defiant. Regrettably, the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser doesn't have any Jem'Hadar on it in order to add ordnance to their attack rolls. Only 1 shot out the rear and it's a miss. We then fire a photon torpedo at the hostile raider. The constellation calls an impulse manoeuvre in order to move out of the way of the wrecked minefield. The Jem'Hadar attack fighter moves up to red alert for a more aggressive stance. Needing to go a full warp 9 to get to the next sector, the captain spends 1 reserve power to power warp and then another 3 power to bring its movement of 6 up to the full warp 9. The second Jem'Hadar fighter follows its predecessor and goes up to red alert. Four hits takes 2 shields off the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser and 2 hull. The Jem'Hadar also lose their Ketracel white reserves in that attack. Hoping to keep the pressure on the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser, the Defiant also fires 2 quantum torpedoes at it. This is probably me just getting greedy, wanting to fire 8 black dice at that Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. analysis for Pierce gives 2 shots to the hull. Pulled a damage card and it's fried conduits, so I've lost shields in the front half of my ship. Another 2 damage with no shields brings the Galaxy down to 4 hull at yellow. The Galaxy uses its 2 weapons power to fire 2 quantum torpedoes out the front. Seeing as I don't have any sensor locks, Ali then does a lateral impulse move to move out of the road of the quantum torpedoes that are near the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. Staying in sector to support the 2 away teams, I move the Constellation up to Yellow Alert 2. Attack Fighter 2 repositions for the next round and to move further away from the quantum torpedoes. Federation Survey Team Alpha again fails to achieve the extract asset mission. As does the Jem'Hadar assault team. The Federation, as the interlopers on this complication, actually only bank the victory points with the team when they succeed at a mission action. They then have to get back to their ship in order to score those victory points. The Defiant's torpedoes fly off the board because of the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser being able to do its lateral move last turn. Both quantum torpedoes deal 3 damage to the attack fighters, so that just goes straight into their shields because they're red alert 1, which gives them 3 shields at the fronts. The Jem'Hadar photon torpedoes completely whiff against the hostile raider. The battle cruiser gains 2 peril from having to ration Ketracel White to the Jem'Hadar. Jem'Hadar battlecruiser loses another 2 reserve power from its shields from the 2 hits that go through from the hostile raider attacks. It's down to 1 reserve power left. Apologies again here, folks. This is part of the footage that we lost. This was only done on video here, so this ready phase is gone completely from us because we lost the video footage. It's also why I like to keep notes. Right, round 5. The Jem'Hadar fires on the Galaxy. The Galaxy is shieldless, all shots will go straight into the hull. We get 3 hits, which reduces the Galaxy to 2 amber, but we also get another damage card and lose some crew ability. Damage card is turbo lifts disabled, so we can only move 1 crew around in the ready phase. Using 2 reserve to power a 3 dice attack, it gets another hit on the Galaxy, bringing it down to 1 amber and another crew damage. Having had 2 crew injuries over the last round, the Galaxy inspires his crew to get some back. Defiant spends 3 reserve power to power the shields, and 1 hit goes through to the hull. They also get a damage card, weapons EPS offline. The second attack is even better, but because we move down to the amber stage, damage stops after only 2 hits. Three damage here from this roll from the Defiant against the battlecruiser, and I missed the fact that my opponent didn't move his hull damage down. He should have got 1 damage through to the hull. The Jem'Hadar fires back at the Defiant, but I decide to use Peril as the Federation player. I use Peril to get him to re-roll that double that he got there. Odo beams up the beta survey team so that we can score the 2 victory points that were banked on the Federation away team. This puts the Federation 2 victory points ahead. Thankfully, the Galaxy got his shields back by successfully repairing the fried conduits. The Jem'Hadar battlecruiser is also able to repair the Ketracel White facilities and quell the Jem'Hadar. Defiant repairs its weapons EPS. Survey Team Alpha for the Federation continues its bad luck and fails in the mission action to extract an asset. As does the Jem'Hadar, unfortunately. Hostile raiders' fire weapons actions nip away at the Jem'Hadar battle cruiser's shields again. Jem'Hadar battle cruiser moves the Vorta supervisor from the med bay back into the bridge. They also create a Dominion diplomatic team who have a better command skill. It's around this point that I noticed that on the Constellation, Odo has a field craft of 2. So after resolving them, I actually moved them onto the bridge again because I'm going to use them and try and transport them down with the away team that's on the Constellation still. It's the final round now, round 6. It's all to play for. We've got to use as many officers as possible to push through some actions and try and get some extra victory points. The Jem'Hadar go on the offensive using phased polaron beams on the Galaxy class again. Galaxy's in a really precarious position now, down at 1 hull. It has got 3 shields and it's got power to protect them there, but the Jem'Hadar do have Pierce, and if they can get Pierce here, which they do, that means it's only 2 shields that they can use for the Galaxy. So the Galaxy, unfortunately, is disabled. So the Defiant goes on the offensive again, trying to go for the big Jem'Hadar battle cruiser. Even with rerolls, it's only 2 hits. And the Jem'Hadar battle cruiser has 2 shields and reserve power to spare. The Defiant uses a second shot using its phaser emitters and whiffs. Jem'Hadar attack fighter fires on the Defiant. Gets a really solid hit here, and we get a damage card out of it. Unfortunately, I pulled the wrong damage card because it's one that's supposed to be for the aft that I got. It was a warp core breach, which obviously would have been terrible, but actually it was exploding panels we got instead, but I noticed it just in a little while. The Jem'Hadar then fires a photon torpedo towards the Galaxy class just to try and see if we can get it off the table. The Constellation transports the away team and Odo down to the planet to try and get this last objective in the Federation's sector. The Jem'Hadar battle cruiser does much the same, sending another away team with a founder onto the furthest objective. The Defiant carries out emergency repairs, moving up from 1 hull to 4 hull. diplomatic envoy team and the founder try and extract the assets, he would get a great result. So they managed to succeed and extract the asset and get another victory point. Odo and his survey team try and extract their asset, but fail to get the necessary number of successes. And Eris tries to extract an asset with her assault team as well, but again the dice aren't in their favour and they fail. The Defiant repositions. Wanting to stay in range for shooting, the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser reverses so that keeps the Defiant still in range. Into the standby phase, and you can sense the desperation for both sides trying to get victory points. That's both away teams, so the Jem'Hadar here and the Federation away team failing again. The Jem'Hadar opens up on the Defiant and manages to bring it down to 2 hull again. Photon torpedo that the Jem'Hadar attack fighter fired towards the galaxy doesn't do much. There's still plenty of reserve power to fund the shields. For the final phase, the hostile raider fires a couple of shots at the Jem'Hadar battlecruiser. Again, just hitting the shields and taking down some reserve points. So the final result of this game was a Dominion victory, and they get 2 victory points extra for the Federation interlopers failing to have 3 or more markers on the table from extracting the assets. I really enjoyed the game. Big learnings for me from it. Use your points fully at the start on core officers to get a good range of skills. They'll really help in the missions. My upgrade choices were also a bit wasted, to be honest. I didn't use them. That was either oversight or because they were too situational. Finally, really read those overture situations and complications so you can play to the mission and score victory points.